What up, Wizards? It's the Money Man from Mtg, aka the Incredible Hulk of Unsellable Bulk, and I'm out here making it rain in the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, baby. I had a whole $5 just burning a hole in my pocket. It hurt, so I had to get rid of it. So we decided that instead of wasting that on a booster pack, why would I do that? The whole point of this series, if there is a point of this series, and I swear there is to show you that you can get the cards you want for an incredibly low amount of money. So let's see how live we can get with 5 in Ixalan. And I'm your favorite magic channel's favorite magic channel. Best believe that the professor go bananas for my deck tech. And we're back. Like and subscribe, please. I know nobody does it, but just this once, that'd be awesome. But let me go over the rules real quick, and I mean real quick, in case you forgot them since the last time we were here. I have to spend at least $5. That's mostly to get free shipping from TCG Player. A lot of sellers do that, but it's really hard to spend exactly $5, turns out. So I have a little bit of a cushion here. I can get to $5.25, but not a penny over. And of course, if I go over $5, I have to stop buying cards. I can't say, oh, I've spent $5.05. I still have 20 cents left. No, in fact, I don't. I'm over $5. Let's stop now, Dev. But that is basically the entire rule set for this challenge, as it's called it. I'm not sure if this is a challenge or not. Anyway, let's talk about how we spent this $5 and in what order, because I knew exactly which card I wanted to order first. And if you've watched any of my videos, you probably know exactly which card I ordered first too. It's old Bart, who is the star of the set to me. Does anybody get a Bart star joke in 2023? Joke check. Is anybody out there getting that? One way or the other, when it comes to Bart, I am a simp, son. But I also had to pick this card up because I'm actually going to play it. I know, it's weird, but still, it slots directly into Ellis Core and EDH. And of course, I have one of those decks. I'm nothing if not a total cliche, but still, if I'm feeling particularly frisky, I can kick Ellis into the 99, which feels like a bit of a betrayal, but she'll get over it. She's a piece of cardboard, right? So I just want Bart to be the commander for a couple of days and see how that works out, because it sure seems like this should be the commander in Orzhov Sacrifice and EDH. Just makes sense. But in case it doesn't quite work out as a commander, I can just promote Ellis back up the chain and kick this into the 99, because I'm pretty sure it goes into the deck one way or the other. And for this card that I'm super excited to play, and I hope to resolve literally thousands more times over the course of what's remaining of my Magic playing career, single American quarter. 25 cents for this. Seems like a steal. I'm not sure that Bart's going to like go up in price over time or anything like that, but for a card that I'm this excited to play, 25 cents doesn't seem like much of a sacrifice. And that's it. Picked up the one card that I really wanted from the set, and then I got out of there. I spent 25 cents on Lost Caverns of Ixalan, but no, I started thinking after that, should probably spend the other $4.75 so I have sort of a real YouTube video. I'm still not actually sure that we got there in the end, but one way or the other, I did get that other $4.75 spent, and the second card that I went for might actually surprise you. I don't know if you know how excited I actually am for Thousand Moon Smithy. Yeah, not really sure that I hammered it in hard enough how excited I am to play this card, but I am stoked, although my expectations are a bit tempered. How you digging these Smithy jokes? Probably not very much, actually, so I'll just keep moving on here. I'm embarrassed. Either way, really wanted to play this card, and I'm glad I got to pick up a copy despite the fact that I think I may have overpaid slightly. Even though the price of this is a little bit steep, I was still happy to pay it, but it may go down in the next couple of months or weeks or even days, because the set is still relatively fresh and prices are dropping and stuff. So again, maybe I could have picked this up for like $1.35 in a little while, but I really wanted to get my hands on it as quickly as possible. Want to play this card. It's not seeing a whole lot of play in standard, which is probably driving the price down, but from what I can tell here on YouTube, some of the content creators on the EDH side of things are still drooling over this. And if you think standard drives up prices, haven't met any EDH players. So this may actually hold its price or even go up over time. But honestly, I don't really care that much about speculation when it comes to this thing. I just want to play with it. Now, I will hold to and reiterate the idea that I was happy to pay this price for the card, but I was still a little bit skittish about spending this much money on an individual piece. Yes, I know. It's $1.60. I don't like to spend money on cards. So I decided to maybe get a little bit more spendthrift with our next option, but it turns out we got a really good pickup here at number 3. Thrashing Brontodon with this super special art and its foil, and it was only 25 cents. I just felt like that was way too low of a price for this card, right? I mean, the market price was higher than I got it for, but not actually by that much, and that's weird to me because this is like the coolest looking version of a Thrashy Bee that you could play, and it's all shiny and whatnot in it. So that's a good price to me, man. Right now I'm building the mono green cube. I've got the mono black cube almost completely finished. There's a card in this order that's going to slot into the mono black cube. I'll tell you about it when we get there, and it won't be too much longer. But on Twitter, I asked everybody, aside from black, because I'm already building that, what mono-colored cube would you want to see? And green didn't quite run away with it. It was actually a really close poll, but green ended up winning. So I'm working on mono green cube next, and this Thrashing Brontodon will go really nicely in there. Now, of course, after finding such a good deal on that Thrashing Brontodon, my confidence was renewed and a little bit too high. So I decided to throw a bunch of money around and just buy the most expensive card in the entire order, $1.46. for a foil copy of Amalia Benavides Aguirre. You know, as you get a little older and more experienced and you gain a little wisdom in this crazy world in which we live, you begin to realize that very often one of the most dignified and in fact the smartest things that you can do is to simply admit that you were wrong. Important lesson from this video. If you take nothing else, remember that. But about Amalia, I was very much wrong, and I never called the card straight up bad. As a matter of fact, I specifically avoided saying those words about it, but I did accuse it of being overrated, and about that, I was still very much wrong. This card impressed me a lot, overperformed like crazy in that Aristocrats deck. You didn't see the Aristocrats deck? Just check out the deck. I worked really hard on it. It's a good video. It's decent at least, but still, this card overperformed a lot, and it might not even just have to go in like standard life gain decks. I might actually play the card at some point in a paper game of Magic, because this too could float directly into the Ellis Okori DH deck. There's a lot of life gain going on in there, and this too is a pretty sweet little life gain payoff for certain cubes if you're into that idea too. So I'm pretty sure I will sleeve this card up and play it at some point, but even if I don't, I just have a card that I really, really like, and there's nothing wrong with that either. And then I picked up a Poison Dart Frog. With my bare hands. It hurt. My advice is not to do that. So afterwards, to make myself feel better, I bought a copy of Poison Dart Frog, and that was a much better experience. This guy's my buddy. I just really wanted a copy of him, but if you wanted justification for this purchase outside of I just really like the card, which honestly I don't think there should have to be more justification than that, but I will sleeve this up and play it too. Like I said earlier, mono green cube is going to be a thing in the next 6 months or so, and I'm already working towards building that. And you know, this is the perfect 2-drop for that cube. Can you name a better 2-drop for mono green cube than a Poison Dart Frog? Even if you just did, I didn't hear it. I'm in a room. I can't hear you at all. So maybe you just said a thing out loud. I assure you that I didn't hear it. So I'm just going to stay in my own little world here and say that this is the perfect 2-drop for mono green cube. There are no better 2-drops for mono green cube, and I wanted it. But speaking of cube, which I'm just now realizing I do an awful lot. Is it annoying? I don't know, but I picked up a copy of Deep Cavern Bat, which is going directly into the mono black cube, although I'm not really sure what 2-drop it's going to replace yet. Probably Ravenous Rats, because that just makes sense, but I really like Ravenous Rats. Either way, really amazing card here, and it fits directly into sort of the theme of the mono black cube because it's kind of Halloween-y. Don't ask why I didn't do it for Halloween. Actually, the actual answer is not that complicated. We're still doing spoilers at Halloween, and I just didn't have time to fit it into the schedule. So in the next week or two, you will see this mono black cube, but I still have to get this Deep Cavern Bat in before I actually unveil the whole thing. Either way, I was excited about having a copy of this card, not just for cube, just because it's a sweet card. Again, I don't think there should be more justification other than, did you see how sweet this card is? Like, sometimes I just pick up sweet commons and uncommons for no other reason than I like them and they're cheap, which is basically two of the best reasons to buy a Magic card in my mind. There's something I like about that. I don't even know if you can see this, honestly, but that says Bart and then Bat. And it's just something that satisfies me about that. Anyway, what did I buy next? Oh, yeah, here we go. I got a good one next. Might actually go in the mono black cube too. I really do talk about cube too much, but either way, there's kind of a skeletons sub theme in the cube. So we got zombies, we got vampires, and we got skeletons, but it turns out there's way more payoffs for zombies and vampires. So why would you draft skeletons? So I'm looking for more payoffs for that particular creature type. That's why I picked up a Corpses of the Lost. This ended up on me and Power Dragon's list of overrated cards too. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay, so it's a 3-mana, 3-power haste guy that you can pop back to your hand and get more 3-mana, 3-power haste guys. It's, it could be okay. Maybe, who knows? But I know this also slots pretty directly into the cube that I'm building, and I'm not sure that I'll ever do anything else with it in the history of my entire life. But even if that's all it does, then I'm just happy to give skeletons a little bit more support. Also, for what it's worth, this was a foil copy of this card. I actually think for some people that decreases the value, but I like shiny things. So for only 55 cents, it felt like this was about the price I'd want to pay for this card. Actually, what I'd like to pay for this card is nothing. If it were free, that'd be best, but 55 cents, that's not bad either. But it turned out I still somehow had more money. You see how many cool cards you can get for like $5? At this point, I was only on like $4.50, so I had to keep going, and I decided that if I had to keep going, I might as well pick up a Twists and Turns while I was at it. This is only a quarter This card is only a quarter. Do you know it's uncommon? It seems like it should be a rare, but it's actually uncommon. This is another thing that may end up in the mono green cube because obviously ramp is going to be a thing, and this is a payoff for ramp that I think is actually just really good. But if nothing else, it's also a sweet commander card. I actually believe that. Turns out you can get 7 lands in commander relatively fast, and then you just have this thing for the rest of the game. That'll just draw you a creature at the end of your opponent's turn. Whoever's next to you. At the end of their turn, just draw yourself a creature if you have the mana for it every turn. It actually seems kind of ridiculous. Also just gives you an Explorer too. I mean, like I've talked about how good I think this card is before. So the fact that it was only 25 cents kind of jumped on that. And for a time, that was actually it. But I didn't place my order the same day that I actually put all these cards in my cart. So I came back the next day thinking that, hey, my card's probably been messed with. Some of the people have bought cards that are in my cart, and now they've been taken out of my cart. And then I looked at my cart, and it was only worth like $4 and something cents. And I was like, okay, they took something out of my cart. But it turns out they didn't take anything out of my cart. Nobody bought the things that were in my cart. What had actually happened is that Thousand Moon Smithy had gone down like 25 cents overnight. So it turns out that put me under $5 and I had to buy another card, or I guess you could say I got to buy another card, but I went straight for the Market Gnome on this one. I'm not sure what I end up playing it in. I don't think it goes in like EDH, LSL Core. There's probably better 1-drops and stuff, but I'm at least going to try it. And if nothing else, I'm just excited to own a copy of it. It's one of my favorite looking Aristocrats 1-drops of all time. And it might actually stick in that LSL Core deck. We'll have to wait and see, but one way or the other, I get to test with a card that I'm excited about. And that's pretty important part of the Magic experience. It's kind of why we all do it. And everyone loves this card, man. When he walks into a bar, everyone's like, "Gnome!" Is anyone going to get that joke? Is anyone... I've actually tried to do that joke like in 2 other videos when talking about Market Gnome, but then ended up cutting the joke because I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. So is this the time that the Cheers reference is finally going to make the cut and be in the video? I guess we'll see. If you're watching it right now, you know whether it happened, but one way or the other, it is a good card. I'm done with the jokes. It's just a good card. But this time, it actually was it. Sent through the order, cards are on the way. And if you want me to prove it, in case you want that, a little weird, but still, I can understand how you might demand that. Here's my cart right here with the total and all that, so you know I really did this and I'm not a big fat liar. That brings us to the end of the $5 we spend. Bars, how am I so good at this? Let me know how you would have spent your $5 as well down there in the comments section, and what cards you're actually excited to pick up from this set. Because sometimes, oddly, our favorite cards, or the ones that we think are the strongest, not necessarily the ones that we're most excited to pick up. Very often, cards we actually order in paper are the ones we're looking to have some fun with. So let me know what cards you're excited for down there in the comments. And by the way, that's not just to drive engagement. I actually am interested in what you're interested in. I find it interesting when people talk about their interests. So again, let me know down there in the comments like what cards you think are cool from the set, or what cards you've already picked up for that matter. But aside from that, just like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more content. There's a ton of it coming up. I've got like 50 ideas I want to get out in the next 3 days. Maybe I can make that happen. I don't know, some sort of YouTube record. We'll make it work. But either way, there's other stuff you can do. I play Magic on Twitch. I actually do that from time to time, like once or twice a week. I try to play some Magic. I know. You would think I wouldn't, but yeah, I play some Magic every now and again on Twitch. Check that out. And of course, you can support us on the Patreon. It means a lot to me when you do that, especially around this time of the year, because, you know, I got to buy Christmas gifts for people too. So if you want to help out on the Patreon, it's just $1 a month to do that. Link in the description, and you'll get to like vote on what videos and decks and stuff we do next. So I try to give you some value for $1. And honestly, I feel like I'm worth $1. You know, sometimes you have to be self-confident and let people know you're worth, and I'm worth at least $1. So hit me up on the Patreon if you can afford to. I know it's really tight this time of year, but $1 would mean the world. Aside from that, I'm basically done over this one. So that is Itski Lewitsky, and it's Allski Kowalski. I did them all in one shot. So I'm basically out of not even clever, just sort of rhyming words that I've made up. So I guess I have to get out of here at this point. I am Dev from The Place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.